All right, folks, we might as well buckle in. We got a lot of shit to discuss here, don't we? Holy cow. I mean, we're talking a lot of stuff that happened here today, especially at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. And then we've also got the BAFTA shortlists out. So I'm just going to go through everything, try to talk about, maybe why some things happened and why other things did not happen. Try to decipher some of this stuff because there's a lot of people out there, and I've seen just because these were announced while I was at work this morning, so I didn't really have way too much time to process everything right away. But in the meantime, here I did see right away though quite a few reactions from people, and it's like I think a lot of people are very, very mixed on the inclusions, and especially some of them are very angry about the exclusions with the nominations today. So I don't know. We'll just go right into it here. So I believe, unless I miscounted here, that we have two films tied for the most nominations here this morning at SAG. And we'll cover everything with SAG first, then we'll get to BAFTA. So that would be 3 nominations each, and that is for House of Gucci and for The Power of the Dog. Both got 3. Now, I was very on the fence. I was like, okay, I think House of Gucci either does well or it gets nothing, and I was on the side of it getting nothing. But the fact that it did get that Ensemble nomination and the 2 actors in, Lady Gaga and Jared Leto, and yeah. And we'll talk about, too, how it did on the BAFTA shortlist, but this is really making me reconsider everything here with this film, because at first I was kind of writing it off as, okay, Jared Leto, makeup, costume design, and that was it. But now I really think we have to look at this very, very seriously as in that 8, 9, 10 slot as a spoiler for a Best Picture nomination. I think it really can do that. Now, obviously, to win is going to be extremely difficult because it's very quiet right now in like the screenplay, directing categories. Some of the other tech categories, I really don't think so. But wow, that one is sticking around. Otherwise, yeah, let's see here. So going into the individual categories here, your nominees for performance by for Best Ensemble, I should say. We have Belfast and we have Coda. Those are the only 2 I got right. Then we have Don't Look Up, House of Gucci, and King Richard filling out the rest of the other 3 slots there. So, okay, first up, let's go through the 2 I had right. Belfast, for sure. I mean, that would have been even, because obviously we'll get to the exclusions here in a second. But this was probably the most, it would have been the most jaw-dropping exclusion in, as far as SAG goes. Well, I don't know if I should say in the last couple of years, because we have had, over the past couple of years, quite a few exclusions here that made virtually no sense. Like, last year we had a couple that did not get in that looked like they were in some good shape there, like Promising Young Woman. What was the other one here? I wouldn't say not so much on the eventual Best Picture winner, Nomadland. There was one other one I was thinking of from last year, but I can't remember what it is now. Yeah, that one. In 2019, we had a couple there that missed, boy, I don't know, my memory's all fading me, because I'm more focused on stuff from this year. Let's see, 2018, I know we had some that year, like Vice, Green Book, I thought stood a really good shot of getting in. That did not. The Favorite was probably the biggest one that year, where it's like, okay, how does that one not get in for Ensemble? 2017 was also a real head-scratcher with stuff like The Shape of Water and The Post missing. Some of those I think we could explain away with the release dates and stuff, especially for The Post. But, yeah, that one left a lot of people like, huh? What? Who? kind of stuff there. Let's see. In 2016, of course, La La Land for a long time, they're our Oscar frontrunner that year. Really, again, until it didn't win. That one missed out on Ensemble, which again we kind of explained away. Let's see here. Otherwise, I think otherwise there wasn't Fences not getting in, or no, Fences did get in. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the other one there. No, all 3. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I was thinking of something else. Let's see, then 2015, yeah, just to round that out. Yeah, The Revenant I knew was not really the biggest shot there. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was any like immediate ones that day where I was like, oh, how is that not in? I don't know, because like I didn't have it early, but like Big Short, was actually not too big a surprise there for getting in. Beast of No Nation was a shocker, of course. Straight Outta Compton, I don't remember predicting that one. Trumbo, I don't think I had in. I think I'd have to look clear back at some of those videos or something to see what I was missing there. But still, this year, if Belfast had missed, that would have been, to bring it back here, that would have been like the ultimate, like, okay, this is turning the whole race on its head kind of deal. And Coda getting in, that one I felt good about. It has, even though it's a smaller cast, which actually both Belfast and Coda, I believe, only have 6 cast members each listed there. It just felt like such an intimate group and stuff, and it was an early release, so I was pretty confident about that one. Now, as far as the inclusions here, Don't Look Up, that one I have no clue, because I've said it multiple times, as far as I'm aware, and maybe somebody out there can maybe explain it better than I can, but the way this film was credited in the beginning, they basically put 2 people's names up front, and it's the way it goes, and the reason why something like Marriage Story and Mank struggled in this category here. And yeah, maybe Marriage Story was one I was really scratching my head at there a couple years ago. That's right, yeah, I do remember being upset that morning, because I thought it was like a sure bet, but it didn't happen. That was just because of the way that the opening credits went, because, or in that case I think it was end credits, but it featured only the 2 actors' names together on the first cast screen. So it's like, oh, so it's Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, and that would have been the only 2 in the ensemble. They did the same thing with Don't Look Up, and yet the whole cast is in there. It is not just those 2. It's Ariana Grande, it's Timothée Chalamet, it's Rob Morgan, it's Tyler Perry, it's Meryl Streep, Mark Rylance, Jonah Hill, all of them. It's and it is the biggest ensemble here today. It's I think I counted 13 or 14. Yeah, I'm counting 14 now. I thought I counted 13 earlier. But still, that's the biggest ensemble we have today. And again, I am just completely scratching my head on that, because as far as I know, that's the rule. Unless they changed it and I was not aware of that, that's one thing. But I don't know. That and it was kind of, like we said, a kind of a crazy way to do it, in that way. So because it's like the 2 names popped up, but then more names kept popping up and other names got subtracted to make room for the new names. So maybe by some technicality that does work. I don't know, man. I don't know. So that one I'm going to plead ignorance on and just be like, okay, it got in. I guess there was something with that they could look past and get everybody included in the ensemble, and it wasn't just going to be Leo and Jennifer Lawrence. But whatever. House of Gucci, like we said, yeah, that one I was like, okay, again, it's either going to do well or it's not going to get anything, and I was, again, on that side of it, not getting anything. And then King Richard, I took out in the last 2 days, or 3 days, whatever it was. I think it was on Monday I took it out, whatever. But in favor of West Side Story. But that one I did have in for a while, so I pulled the string on the wrong thread or whatever and tumbled, yeah. So I only got 2 out of the 5 there. Now, for what's missing, I mean, yeah, we got to talk about Power of the Dog. Very much this kind of feels like, let's see, I was going to look here. What was the one? There was one example that was sticking out to me that did that. I think it was, Shape of Water sticks out, because that one I had 2 or 3 individual nominations, and yet it didn't get ensemble. Marriage Story is another one, but again, I think we could explain that away with the weird title situation and everything. The Favorite. Yeah, I think that was the one I was thinking of, was The Favorite. Because that one, again, it was like, that one did not have, like the Power of the Dog, did not have a weird thing going on with the credits, so there was seemingly no explanation for why that one got left off. And here, again, it has the individual nominations in all 3 of the categories we expected, actor, supporting actor, and supporting actress, and yet no ensemble. And it's weird because it's not like 2 Netflix films made it in over it. Only 1 did, Don't Look Up. So why that one is not there, I don't know. Now, as far as, because this is coming off of a win at the Golden Globes for Best Picture Drama, which, kind of, in the early beatings I've been hearing some people talking about, like, okay, maybe that if you were, because a couple people I was looking at there, they were thinking Belfast, or they thought it was pretty close, or Dead Heat. They were saying, okay, this kind of gives advantage to Power of the Dog early, even though, again, not a lot of people are putting as much stock in the Globes as they used to, and especially with no speeches or red carpet or any of the gala stuff, that would, sometimes pump it up a little bit. Yeah, they were like, okay, maybe this doesn't impact it as much, but still, that's an early win to kind of go into the season and stuff, so that would, projectively put it in the front runner status there. And now it's missing from SAG. So this is arguably going to be the third film, actually, in the last 4 years or 5 years. I'm trying to think of the math right now. I think it's 5 years. If it does go on to win Best Picture, that is. To be missing that Ensemble nomination. And again, if you go clear back, every Best Picture winner was at least nominated for the Ensemble category here at SAG since its inception, except for Braveheart. Braveheart, up until Shape of Water, was the only film to not have that cast nomination at SAG and go on to win Best Picture. Now, and to be fair, that was the first year that they had the Ensemble category, so they were still kind of finding their feet there. But still, that, in more recent years, okay, maybe that's trending toward it's still in the race. But here, 4 or 5 years ago, even 6 years ago now, whatever, when La La Land was up and then it was missing, we kind of all dismissed it at the time. Of course, we were 1 year early because then a lot of us, including myself, then began to doubt Shape of Water as a heavy front runner after that got snubbed here at SAG. And snub being the just a choice word there. Again, a lot of people just throw the word snub around. I try to save it so it's a little more exclusive. Like, okay, if I love a performance and it does not get in, that's a snub to me. Being left out on the list, left off the list, for example, we'll get to some of the actors here who did not make the lists, respectively, in each category, because I think, because obviously that's been a big word that everybody throws around, like, oh, they snubbed so-and-so in this category. It's like every category seemingly has multiple snubs and stuff, so I'm like, I try to use that a little more like, okay, I mean it when I use that word kind of deal. So, yeah, I'm trying to think, because for me, I think the Shape of Water Ensemble, for example, that was a big snub for me, because I'm like, not only is it a great cast, not only do they all give great performances, but the way they work together as an ensemble, especially like the scenes where they're getting the fish out of the factory or whatever it was, Fishman, the whatever. They didn't give it a name in the movie, did they? Whatever. It's like, especially that scene, I mean, the way they're working together, I'm like, there's no way this misses, and it missed, and I was like, that was a huge snub. But yeah, for Power of the Dog myself, I mean, there's not really, outside of a few elements here and there, it's not really a huge ensemble movie. Arguably, that's kind of true for a lot of nominees this year. Like, Coda is one I would not say that about. When they're together, yeah, that does feel very ensemble-y, if you will. Don't Look Up, okay, I mean, there's a couple spoiler examples I can give where it does feel kind of like an ensemble there. I mean, I guess in the trailers you do see like the Oval Office thing. It's like, okay, they're kind of all there. They're kind of all bouncing off each other in improv or scripted stuff. I'm sure it was both in the finished film there. But so that makes a little more sense, obviously. But yeah. So that one. Let's see. Otherwise, I had West Side Story that I threw in again, kind of last minute. And yeah, that one, it's still got the one nomination here today, so it's not like it got completely left off every list. But, okay, yeah, that's, it kind of seemed like that one was kind of getting on a trajectory where it wasn't really going to miss, sorry, not Heil Hitler, sorry. You get what I was, okay, whatever. I won't try not to pay too much attention to that. But it was on a trajectory where it was like, okay, it seems like it's not really going to struggle from here on out. And obviously when we get to the long list here for BAFTA, we will see that West Side Story really did not miss anything on there. At least when, again, that'll be... Seriously, when I read this list off and we get to BAFTA, it's going to be like the second time I've read this off for myself. Because I kind of looked at it once this morning, kind of went through and be like, oh, yay, oh, okay. Trying off the top of my head to think, okay, was anybody really missing from that category? Kind of deal. But yeah, I, from what I remember, that one and a few others, it was like, wow, they really did not miss any categories that were like big shockers or whatever. And yeah, the fact that it is missing here today and stuff, and again, this was one that was kind of later in the season, but I was like, okay, well, what about Bombshell? Bombshell was kind of late in the season, Don't Look Up this year was kind of later in the season, about the same time, actually, as West Side Story, as I recall. that we started getting a little buzz about it and stuff. And some of the first reactions, I think, were maybe ahead of West Side Stories. But still, that one was, again, arguably later in the season, and it got in fine here. It was its only nomination. It didn't get anything else, didn't get any individual nods there. But, wow, okay. And then The Harder They Fall was just one. I guess I fell hard for the movie, and especially after seeing it there over the weekend, I was like, this. I would put this absolutely as one of the best films of the year. I haven't seen everything, of course, but yeah, that one just not getting anything here, I was like, that's too bad. Because again, that's an ensemble. If you see the movie, there's particular very, very good scenes where they work together, and it really is good. Or even some of the villains, their ensemble type scenes, really, really good. So I felt like, okay, that almost felt like and it is Netflix, it's a very diverse cast, which this year, of the diverse cast type quota, if you will, and I'm just using that again as a choice word, really King Richard's the only one in the ensemble category that kind of fits that bill there. Unless you would count, like, say, something like Coda, because that one doesn't usually, we don't usually see the deaf community represented tons and tons and tons on screen. So you could argue that one for being a little more out of the norm, if you will, for who your ensembles are. But yeah, I don't know. The other three kind of feel like they're kind of more white male heavy a little bit. Well, arguably. I mean, Belfast has a couple women in there and stuff. But okay, so that one. Let's see what else. A couple other ones just on the Best Picture list to look out for that we're missing here, like Licorice Pizza. Some people were a little optimistic about that one, but I don't know. I thought it would get just the one nomination. I was correct in that prediction. I had it in the wrong category, and the wrong person got in. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, this person shouldn't have been nominated, wherever, because I haven't seen that one, so I don't 100% know. But yeah, Dune, Tick Tick Boom, Nightmare Alley, a couple of those other ones, being the Ricardos, some of those, French Dispatch, yes. And again, that doesn't mean it's the end of the line for all these other pictures and stuff, but yeah, definitely a nomination here, especially if something like Power of the Dog is going to miss. Anything else that gets in, that's a really strong sign. And again, speaking of which, so for Don't Look Up, I think we talked about this one of the other last times there, but I did put this back into Best Picture. And seeing how it is here and how well it did at the long lists at BAFTA, again, this one, like House of Gucci, it seems to be back on the rise again. And it really doesn't seem like it's going to miss too much there. And it didn't. I don't think it really missed anything in the long list here that made me, kind of pause. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into the individual categories here. Again, we'll start with inclusions and go to exclusions. So, of my predictions, I think the ones I did best in were Best Actor and Stunt Ensemble. So for Best Actor, it was the nominees are Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. So the only one I missed there was Peter Dinklage. And really, again, I look at that one and I'm like, oh, okay. So that one, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of, again, release-wise, it's not even released here in the U.S. yet for wide release. But yeah, the fact that one did screen pretty early, like Telluride, and I believe at TIFF as well. And a lot of buzz out early was like, yeah, Peter Dinklage is really good in the movie. And he really hasn't missed anything so far. So I was like, especially with the very heavy TV basis when it comes to the voters here and stuff, I was like, oh, I think even though for many people, including myself, I was going to say House of Cards, but Game of Thrones kind of ended on a low note. It's like, even through that, I remember Peter Dinklage still getting good reviews through it and stuff. So that's, I don't think they need to hold that against him or whatever. But no, and it might have been just not enough of them had seen Cyrano, so that could be it. Yeah, so as far as Javier Bardem getting in, yeah, that's a really good sign. And I think other than, because I was thinking through today, I was like, did he miss Critics' Choice, if I remember right? Or was he there? I can't remember. Let's see here. I'm gonna look. I couldn't find it there. No, it was only J.K. Simmons, Nicole Kidman, and the script that got in at Critics' Choice. Okay, so I was going to say, I'm like, otherwise I was like, man, he hasn't missed anything this year. Yeah, that's the only one. And that's with 6 nominees, so that is kind of significant. But the fact that he gets back in here and is on the long list for BAFTA is very promising for him. And again, being the Ricardos, I think the only other thing that really would have benefited this even more is if it had gotten an ensemble nomination. But still, the individual nomination here getting in over guys like Peter Dinklage and Nicolas Cage and Leo DiCaprio and a few other of the outliers there like Joaquin Phoenix or Simon Rex definitely shows that if he's not your fifth, he's definitely your sixth in this race. It'll really depend on whether or not Dinklage can hang around, because I believe he was on the long list as well. But again, we'll get to that. Or if he's going to take over, or if possibly somebody else slips out. But at this point, I really don't think any of those other four are in very big danger of that. Denzel almost always gets in, and even though this one might not do so hot across all the ceremonies, I don't think he misses. Benedict seems pretty locked in. Will Smith is locked in. And Andrew Garfield has not missed anywhere. And just from the performance and stuff, everybody is talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, he seems very locked in. So it's really just that one slot we have to go now for determining who's going to get in. Okay, now we move to Best Actress. Here we go. Okay, your nominees are Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Lady Gaga for House of Gucci, Jennifer Hudson for Respect, and Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos. So for the two that I got wrong, obviously Lady Gaga and Jennifer Hudson rather, I did not have in. Gaga I was kind of close on, but again, I didn't really think it was going to go like, okay, one gets in, the other doesn't. For her and Jared Leto, they both got in here, obviously. And then Jennifer Hudson, I was like, okay, this kind of was her last shot here. It felt like, because if she had missed here, yeah, we would have been in trouble there for her going forward. She is on the BAFTA Longlist as well, so that's a good sign too. But this one again was an early release, so it was kind of one that I was like, yeah, I did have her early, and I pulled her after the film kind of started to fade from memory. And then it didn't get the Globe, and it didn't get the Critics' Choice nomination. So I'm like, okay, that one might just be done. But she comes back, so it's I don't know if I want to make the direct comparison yet, because it's like because we've seen some of these SAG nominations where it's like, okay, it kind of feels like now they're or maybe not at SAG, but like some of these later nominations in the season for people who miss, it's like, okay, this kind of feels like you're now on life support to get to the Oscar nomination, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it's a little early to tell on this one. I would really, really have to leave it up to, okay, what does BAFTA do with their list? Now, obviously, they have 6 actresses, and I believe it was Best Actress last year where they had a whole bunch of those British indies get a lot of nominees in there. I remember at the end of the day, I didn't vote for either Vanessa Kirby or for Frances to win there. I think I took Bucky Becrae, I think was her name. I took an upset in that one to win. But, we had a whole bunch, like Viola Davis and Carey Mulligan missing from the Best Actress list last year, and they really went heavy on the indie favorites there. And again, we'll look at the BAFTA list here in a couple moments, but I looked at it there, I'm like, okay, it looks like there's a few names and pictures here that I'm not remembering, or I'm not familiar with. So I'm like, okay, here we go again. For Lady Gaga, she has not missed anywhere now, so I'm like, okay, that, with all the industry support, this kind of feels like it's maybe more of a sure thing now. Coleman, Chastain, and Kidman, again, have not missed anywhere, so those feel like they're pretty locked in right now. With Lady Gaga, she kind of starts to feel like, okay, maybe she's that fourth one that is starting to look a little more secure. So it's really up to whether or not Jennifer Hudson is going to carry over at the Oscars there. At least that's on the surface. So, of course, the one who missed out here, Kristen Stewart. Arguably, I would say even up to today, our front runner in this category. So that is huge. I'm going to briefly look at the list here, because I don't think, since the SAGs have started, I don't think we've ever seen our Oscar winner not at least nominated here at SAG. I'm kind of looking through here. I'm like, okay, right away, I'm like, nope. They're in. Even Marion Cotillard, and again, this is at a ceremony where they do not at all I'm not going to say look fond upon, but very, very difficult for the foreign language performances to get nominated here. Even La Vie en Rose and Marion Cotillard got in here. So that is a wow kind of deal there. I think I have one example here actually. Kate Winslet. though it's kind of a technicality because she won for Best Actress that year for The Reader, though at a lot of different ceremonies, I believe the Golden Globes included, she was nominated in the Supporting Actress category, and I believe she won at both, because I see her as the winner here. So on a technicality, that might be the only example here. Because, yeah, they've been on a really good streak here lately of picking the Best Actress winner, except for Glenn Close. And actually last year with Viola Davis, that's true. So this would be, because obviously Kristen Stewart doesn't have another contender out there this year, this would be the first time in SAG history for your Oscar winner to not be nominated in any capacity at SAG. And again, this was screened early, released relatively early in the first couple weeks in November, as I remember. So wow, that one I just think because the film has early on I was a believer in it. I thought it can get the Best Picture nomination, get in for screenplay, even get another actress in there. But since then, it has completely fallen off. Didn't do very well at the box office. Critics liked it, but kind of like Jackie, it was like, okay, early on, we all thought Jackie was going to be a big deal. Definitely, in comparison, though, Jackie had a lot more votes, I think, to be a Best Picture nominee and possibly even director and screenplay and supporting actress and a big list there, aside from the tech categories and stuff. But right now, I think for Spencer, outside of Kristen Stewart, the only thing that a lot of people are saying is a good bet would be its score from Johnny Greenwood. And guess what? He's got another film out, The Power of the Dog, which is definitely miles ahead in the Best Picture race of something like Spencer. So, yes, this does, absolutely, without a doubt, this makes me think, okay, Kristen Stewart, no longer the frontrunner. I don't really see a scenario where you can walk away from this with her missing. I'm not going to say inexplicably because I haven't seen all the performances here. The only one I've seen actually is Jessica Chastain. And again, I thought she was fantastic. So I would, that would have been another one where you're like, oh, what is that? Why is that missing? that would have been another one where you're like, whoa, okay. I'm really like I don't see how you can still say that she's still the frontrunner she was even 12 hours ago at this rate. So another couple actresses who missed here who really could have benefited from a nomination, obviously anybody, but Elena Heim, who I had in, Penelope Cruz, but again, that one is less a surprise here because again, they don't always favor those performances from a film that's not in English. Rachel Zeigler, Frances McDormand, even some people thought Emilia Jones still stood a decent shot at getting nominated. She's in the ensemble, and I was again pretty sure that was going to happen. So she's still covered there in that way. But yeah, this is definitely like okay. So and she is by the way, and this would have been again very inexplicable here to many people. But she is listed there, as far as I'm remembering, for lead actress at the BAFTA Longlist. So here's kind of my acid test here. Because I think she still gets the nomination at the Oscars right now. I think it would be... Right now I'm thinking dropping... Because I still have Penelope Cruz, and I would probably drop Penelope Cruz, because that one has just gotten nothing. And I'll check... Again, I'll look and see if she's on the short list there, because I don't remember seeing her name, but she might be. Because, again, it's like 15 or 20 at this point, and they narrow it down to 6. So, right now I'm thinking it's Chastain, Coleman, Gaga, Kidman, and Stewart. Those are the 5 I'm going to go with right now. If BAFTA, with 6 nominees, and again, this might be a little misleading because they do, again, at least based on last year's vote, they might favor some more independent fare in that category this time around. If Stewart, who plays Princess fucking Diana at BAFTA, if she can't get in for that, I don't think she gets in at the Oscars. Because that's not just that the British, awards or whatever didn't like her. You also have the SAGs that didn't care enough to put her in over somebody like Jennifer Hudson or Nicole Kidman or Lady Gaga or even Coleman or Chastain. But it's like, okay, if even the Brits, and again, there's a lot of British and a lot of crossover between BAFTA and the Oscars. In fact, I believe it's the highest crossover between all these groups of the early precursors. Yeah, that's like, okay, if they didn't go for it, and enough of them don't go for it again at the Oscars, that's bad. That's really bad luck for her, because I don't think that's going to cross over. So that's my deal with that. Otherwise, I'm going to keep it at those 5 until we find out who the nominees here at BAFTA, who they are. And again, we have February the 9th, I believe, is when these are announced for nominations. So it's like right before the Oscars. Oh, wait, that can't be right. February 9th, that's after the Oscar nominations, I think, because the nominations are on the 8th. For the Oscars. That doesn't make sense. They're always before, though, I thought. That would be a weird thing. They announced the BAFTA nominees after the Oscars? I mean, everybody tries to get ahead of them. Let's see. Yeah, I know March 13th is the ceremony. Let's see. Maybe Deadline has it here. Boy, that really sounds... February 3rd. Okay, there we go. Okay, there. I didn't see... And I had the Variety article up, by the way, for the list here for BAFTA, so... It's probably in there, I just missed it. Here, yeah, it says right here. Dumbass. Nominations will be announced on February 3rd. Okay. So yeah, they will be slightly ahead of the Oscars, but I believe at that point, Oscar voting, if it's not done, it'll be like in the last day or two. Because PricewaterhouseCoopers and everybody, they need a little bit of time to tabulate all the votes and stuff, obviously, so... that's going to be a cliffhanger going into the final things there. And again, it'll really be dependent on how BAFTA feels about that performance and about that film overall. We'll see if it gets any extra support there. Okay, for the supporting races, we'll start with supporting actor. Your nominees here are Ben Affleck for The Tender Bar, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jared Leto for House of Gucci, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. So for the ones who are in, who I did not have in, that's 3 of them. I only got 2 right here, which is actually about par for the course for me in this category. Outside of like I think the Year of Foxcatcher, I remember I kept getting like 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 across a lot of them, because that year was like it was a little more narrow there. This year, this category is a twist, man. I mean, it's really changing from category from show to show. Because right now, the only ones who have made it in everywhere are Cody Smith-McPhee and Troy Kotsur. Nobody else has gotten the kind of triple crown, if you will, of Globe, Critics' Choice, and SAG. So that leaves a lot of slots open here. Ben Affleck has gotten 2 now. Cooper, this is his only one so far. Jared Leto's gotten a couple now, and the couple that missed today we'll get to are the ones from the guys from Belfast. They've gotten 2 nominations each as well. So, yeah, that makes it kind of difficult now to predict this race. Anyway, so for Ben Affleck getting in, this is one, again, Tender Bar is one that critics are not really liking right now. It's kind of like about this, actually the same score as Don't Look Up, which is like mid-50s. Affleck was the only nominee really so far for this film across anything. I mean, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's what we got so far there. Otherwise, it's not really doing too well anywhere else. It's not getting any actors in for like hardly any critics groups or anything either. So yeah, that one is like, okay, I guess Affleck is not just a Golden Globes Ben Affleck meme. It's like, okay, he might get in. Cooper, this is his first nomination at these early shows so far this year. So again, this is kind of a life support type situation for him as well. I forgot already if he's on the list for BAFTA, so we'll get to that later. Otherwise, yeah, Troy and Cody, we both knew were, again, ones that you were very like, ooh, I don't really see them missing. And Jared Leto, again, was with the whole House of Gucci deal there. Okay, so for definitely the 2 I missed here were Ciarán Hinds and Jamie Dornan for Belfast. And really, again, with this one, I really don't know. They could have crossed each other out in the voting, which early on I was fearful of. But then they just both started getting in, both Globes and Critics' Choice on the same day. So I'm like, okay, maybe because I was thinking earlier in the season we had both Power of the Dog getting Cody Smith-McPhee and Jesse Plemons in. But now it's like, ooh, okay, maybe the 2 that get in are for Belfast. So, yeah, that really does not... I mean, we'll see what BAFTA does, because, again, they've got 6 slots there. But, ooh, that is not a terrific sign right now, because it's like, okay, I can see SAG kind of repeating that. and not getting the two actors in. So, oof, we'll have to see there. Otherwise, Jason Isaacs I missed because I thought maybe Mass would do okay here, but it clearly did not. It got absolutely nothing. Let's see. Otherwise, some Oscar favorites here. Otherwise, like Richard Jenkins, Jesse Plemons we mentioned, Mike Feist, J.K. Simmons were left off here. Yeah, so it kind of feels like, especially for like Plemons and Jenkins, it's like, okay, those might just be done. I don't think either. Well, again, we'll get to the BAFTA Longlist there, but I thought Jesse Plemons was on there, but yeah, we'll get to it. So yeah, that again, this is going to be a really weird category, and I have no idea what to do for the Belfast guys, and I don't know what to do about like Ben Affleck. Jared Leto, I'm going to keep in. I've had him in. I still have him actually in the front runner spot right now, surprisingly. But and yeah, I think if he can bounce back and win here at SAG, and with a nomination at Critics' Choice, he might end up winning there. You never know, especially if that show gets delayed and they just want to follow suit. If SAG ends up giving out their awards first, which I don't know if that would work or not. I don't know. That might still happen. He might feel like the orange in the barrel of apples there, or whatever that comparison would be. He might just be that, again, because of the makeup heavy stuff and the accent and the kind of eccentricness, I believe, of his character and everything there. It's like, wow, okay, that might stick out like a sore thumb and be something that the voters want to go for, kind of deal. And yeah, I will have, actually, tomorrow night, there's a chance I have to go see a movie, so I'm like, you know what? Before it leaves theaters, I might as well make it House of Gucci since it's sticking around and stuff. I still like West Side Story, Licorice Pizza, and Nightmare Alley are in like wide release right now. I'm like, okay, I got to see those three at some point. But at least for me here locally, we do have like a snowstorm coming in this weekend, so I'm probably going to be stuck. Yeah, so I can watch basketball, and I can maybe catch up on some other ones that are already on a streaming platform or VOD, so I can at least catch up with a few of them. But, yeah. But that one, I'm going to have to look and see what a few other people do and be like, okay, does that sound smart or does that sound right? I mean, I want to see if anybody starts dropping both the guys from Belfast, Ciarán Hinds and Jamie Dornan, or if they keep one of them. If they're keeping one, who do they keep? Yeah, that's going to be a real mystery before we go into the Oscars there. And we'll see what BAFTA can do to help us or totally hurt us. Because, again, we'll see if they do favor any indie favorites over there. Okay, so that leaves just two categories. Supporting actress, your nominees here are Catriona Balfe for Belfast, Cate Blanchett for Nightmare Alley, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, and Ruth Nega for Passing. So I was going to look this up too, because I believe Ruth Nega, they mentioned, we looked her up last time to make sure she got in at the Globes there last time, but I believe she missed at SAG. So this is her, from the films at least, this is her first nomination there. So, and other than, Tessa Thompson was like the only one we were thinking there for that film. That, I don't know, now Ruth Nega looks like, okay, she's the one I think that they're possibly going to nominate from that film. Anyways, so as far as the inclusion here, Cate Blanchett I did not have. I don't think anybody had Cate Blanchett at this point for Nightmare Alley. We'll get to, I saw her name on the BAFTA Longlist, but we'll get to that. So that's, and again, this is one I haven't seen, so I don't know. Blanchett, actually in retrospect here at SAG, she kind of has gotten some nominations in places where you're like, oh, I didn't really expect that. Let's see, let me go back through, because I thought it was exclusively at SAG. What was the one I was thinking of here? Not Carol. We all knew that one. Blue Jasmine we knew. What was the one I was thinking? Or, no, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I don't know. Was she getting in everywhere that year for Notes on a Scandal? I thought she was. She was, nominated most everywhere. Not at BAFTA, though. She was at the British Independent nominations, though. And she got nominated at the Globes that year. Maybe I'm thinking of the Globes, rather. I think I'm thinking of the Globes, yeah. Because obviously she's a very, very, big actress in that way, where it's like all these awards groups really do like her, so... Yeah, and the fact she did have two kind of Best Picture, maybe not favorites, but definitely two Best Picture contenders that are up there right now, Maybe we could have clued into her there. Kind of in the same way Naomi Watts, remember, for Loving Vincent, was kind of one of those weird nominees. It's like, yeah, she had that one, but she also had Birdman. So it's like, okay, I don't know. Maybe that's kind of the direct comparison I can make here. And then, yeah, Ruth Nega, who did get the Globe nomination here few weeks ago and stuff. So we knew that one was, I believe I had mentioned it there at least. But, yeah, for the two I missed, Ajon Ellis for King Richard and Ann Dowd for Mask. So with Ajon Ellis, again, this is one where I'm like, okay, that was arguably a frontrunner, a potential frontrunner in that category. So even though King Richard did get the nomination there for the ensemble, how they looked over her in this category, I don't know. So this really, I think, as far as, because I have her right now as kind of a placeholder in that category. I started out with Marlee Matlin as my frontrunner, but then, yeah, and her missing here today, okay, it's really going to depend on my theory about Coda having the coattails at the Oscars there to get her in, because I think that can happen. I still think that can happen. Obviously, a nomination here today would have confirmed that for me, but even without her getting in there, I was like, okay, that's, I can still see her path to the Oscars there. So I'll kind of gauge it here in the next couple weeks, and I'll figure out if there's somebody else I want to put in over her. But, yeah, that's not great for Ajon Ellis, who I thought could have, won at the Globes there as well. So now it's like, okay, Ariana DeBose and Kirsten Dunst kind of feel like the two it might come down to here. And again, Kirsten Dunst, I think, other than Benedict, I think her performance I like the best in that movie. So funny story, over the weekend I actually rewatched Small Soldiers. I know it has nothing to do with anything, but she's in it, kind of, well, I won't say early in her career, because she'd been acting for a while there. But I was kind of like, that's funny, because, okay, I was going to say something else about another big film that's out, but, okay. Yeah, you might have already linked that up anyways, but I'm like, weird that she comes back, arguably. Obviously, she's been doing television and, stuff through there for a while. But here in the movies, having, like, a big role that has, like, an Oscar chance and stuff, it's like, funny she comes around at the same time that one of her co-stars in another film. Okay, I'm leading too many dots there. I know the movie's made like $1.5 billion, but yeah, I'm not going to spoil it directly yet. I know you guys can put the pieces together. I don't care, but still, I'm like, okay. And at the end of the day, if Power of the Dog does, for whatever reason, Cody Smith-McPhee falls short in Best Supporting Actor, if they want to go somewhere else in that category, Power of the Dog, if it's going to get anything from the acting categories, Kirsten Dunst might be it. So, yeah. So I'm still like, okay, that could happen there. Yeah, so then, who else missed here that we can talk about? Ann Dowd, yeah, so unfortunately she's missed everywhere now, except Critics' Choice, I believe. I think. She was on the list. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I was going to fact check it, but I'm like, yeah, I'm 90% sure she made it in. And now I'm questioning it, so I'm going to look it up. But yeah, I could have sworn that she got in there. Their accolades. Yes, yeah, she was in there. Yeah. Okay, because again, they have 6 nominees there. But that's really her only one so far. So I did drop her from the Oscar list here a little while ago to make room for, I think it was Ariana DeBose I didn't have in yet. Right? I know early on I started with her, then I dropped her, and then I put her back in. Yeah, so Rita Moreno also joins Ann Dowd as the only one to have just Critics' Choice for nominations there. So, yeah, otherwise, I don't think there were way too many other contenders here who we were, like, really still had a really good shot. Like, Jessie Buckley, I think, would have benefited here if The Lost Daughter had done a little better. I was thinking of that, kind of late yesterday. I was like, maybe that's our jaw dropper here in this category, if we get one. Turned out it was Cate Blanchett. Yeah, otherwise, Judy Dench, some people had been talking about her getting in either over Catriona Balfe and a kind of surprise there for Belfast, or getting in alongside her, kind of like we saw 2 get in for West Side Story there at Critics' Choice. But yeah, and she has had, to be fair though, a lot of nominations also from SAG, Judy Dench has, so it wasn't a bad choice at all if you were putting her in, but I don't know. Just the fact that Catriona has kind of been the one that's kind of stuck out for that particular category, I was like, yeah, I don't really see 2 of them getting in. Okay, so let's move on here. The last category beats Stunt Ensemble, and I'm glad to say that I got 4 out of these 5, and actually at one point I did have 5 of these 5, I believe, because I think early on I put The Matrix in. But anyways, your nominees here are Black Widow, Dune, The Matrix Resurrections, No Time to Die, and Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. Yeah, so that one, I mean, none of these, again, are real head-scratchers here. I mean, none of them don't make sense. They all make sense. The Kung Fu stuff for Matrix Resurrections, and some, martial arts stuff for Shang-Chi makes sense. Obviously, you got Bond here, and I believe this is the first time they've had the Stunt Ensemble category since there's been a Bond... Oh, wait, that's not right at all. I thought this was super new. But no, Spectre did miss, but Skyfall got in. Actually, Quantum of Solace was out, too, when they had this category. So, yeah, that. But otherwise, obviously, it's a Bond film, so it felt like a no-brainer there. And I think it has a good shot to win it here, too, by the way. But, yeah, Dune, I was questioning a little bit yesterday, but I kept it in. Yeah, Black Widow, since it is kind of a female, there'll be, female stunt actresses, I'm sure, included in that ensemble. Kind of like with Wonder Woman and the sequel, which I believe both won. Yeah, they do like when you get a cast, an ensemble cast in the stunt category there, whatever, you get what I'm saying. When it's a lot of female stunt performers, they do like that in this category, so yeah. Okay, before we bid adieu to this category, let me just throw out some early picks for who could win here. Okay, so since we don't have Power of the Dog here, I think this could really open the door for Belfast to just win this one automatically. At least early on, I'm saying that. Now, Coda could be like a Hidden Figures type win here, where it could just be like that. Don't look up the fact that it didn't have anything else. I don't think the biggest ensemble wins kind of theory. I don't think that's going to hold true. Like last year, I believe, other than maybe Defy Bloods, I believe Trials of Chicago 7 had the biggest cast, and that did not win. That one did win, and arguably some people said just because it had the biggest cast. I said just because it was, other than maybe Minari, it was going to be the one with the best chance at getting Best Picture win and a big upset there or whatever. Let's see here. Otherwise... what was the one? Grand Budapest Hotel, I remember some people went with here at SAG here that year, but it went to Birdman. For that one, it was kind of like, they thought the biggest cast kind of ruled there. So that's an example where it did not come through. The Butler also had a pretty big cast there in 2013, but I think a lot of people had it down to either 12 Years a Slave or American Hustle winning that. Sometimes that argument does not go through. So... And especially since Don't Look Up doesn't have any other nominations to help it, I don't see that coming through. Let's see. I think House of Gucci, if it gets anything, again, it might just out of nowhere win for Jared Leto. I don't know, and I'll decide that category here in a second. But no, I think King Richard, I think it's good to be in there, and it's definitely after it's. I mean, it did get like the Best Picture nominations at the Globes and at Critics' Choice, so it's not like it was, a huge bounce back for this film. But the fact that this one, again, has really struggled at the box office and has seemingly started to drop off there as far as possibilities in like some other key categories that would really help, like directing and editing, and possibly even score and cinematography, the fact that it's just not really looking like it's very, very likely in those categories, this is a big helping point there. And I'm not going to say this keeps it alive in the Best Picture race, because I think it was going to be in there regardless. But definitely this shows, okay, if this can get in over Power of the Dog, and it can get in over some other stuff there, like, what was the other one I was thinking of? Sorry. Like Licorice Pizza, like West Side Story, and Nightmare Alley, and a couple other ones there that it has to be kind of looking over its shoulder at right now. That's a good sign. So, yeah, I'm thinking it probably does, though, come down to Belfast or Coda, and right now I would say Belfast probably looks like it's better there. Plus, again, I think some people are going to be a little ticked off that both Jamie Dornan and Ciarán Hinds missed, so that might benefit them. Let's see, in the actor category, probably Will Smith, especially since he's the only one, I believe, in that category that has his picture up for Ensemble, so that should be a good bet there. In Best Actress, again, without Kristen Stewart here, I would actually, again, Nicole Kidman, a lot of nominations at SAG here. I would probably handicap this down to Nicole Kidman or Jessica Chastain. Probably. unless they want to do what I thought they might do last year with Olivia Colman, because she did not win for The Favorite here when she won the BAFTA and the Oscar that year. So, and I believe also her only wins here at SAG, I think a couple people pointed this out, it's only in the ensemble category. She's never won an individual award. So that could throw a wrench in things. We will come back to that one, but right now I think early on, and after the Globe win, I think you got to give advantage to Nicole Kidman here, but I would say Chastain and Coleman are both going to be really gunning for that, with Kristen Stewart not nominated here. Let's see. Then we have supporting actor here. Oh, by the way, this kind of does remind me, though, too, of Regina King. Remember, she didn't get in at SAG for the... oh, my God. Why am I blanking on the title now? Beale Street. For Beale Street. So, again, it's not impossible to win if you're not nominated here at SAG. I'm sure there's a couple other examples here I can think of. But, yeah, they might come to me later. So, because I remember, 2018, I remember we all were kind of like throwing up our suggestions there for who would win since your favorite was not nominated here. So again, that's not the end of the road, I think, for Kristen Stewart to win, but she definitely has to bounce back. She has to win I would say almost has to win Critics' Choice, and she has to win BAFTA for sure. She definitely has to get in first there to kind of keep that front runner status. It's not impossible to bounce back from this. But it's, especially in this category with this history, that's very tough. That's kind of like when I was looking at the stats last year when I still had One Night in Miami to win Best Picture, and then it didn't get the Picture Drama nomination at the Globes. I was like, oh boy, that's really tough, because there's not a lot. We named 2 or 3 examples of films that went on to win Best Picture without the nomination in that or the comedy musical category there at the Globes. Okay, supporting actor again. Cody Smith-McPhee could just run the board here, maybe. Especially if the rest of these categories are really undecisive about who to nominate and stuff, and it's kind of changing competition each time. They might go with somebody who's just kind of familiar through the thing, kind of like a Mark Rylance or something. Could be. So I would say right now advantage him. Troy Kutzer, though, because Coda does have the ensemble nomination, which House of Gucci does as well. It could actually, again, you could be looking at one of those two to upset, but I think early on I got to go Cody Smith-McPhee to win here. Let's see, supporting actress. Right now I'm thinking again it probably does come down to Ariana DeBose or Kirsten Dunst for that one. Again, unless maybe just because she got in, this, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking a little bit like the Emily Blunt win for Quiet Place. I don't know. It could be a film where it's like, okay, they like it enough to, to that degree. And Cate Blanchett, I think she has at least one SAG win, I know, for Blue Valentine. She won, or Blue Valentine, Blue Jasmine. I don't think she was in Blue Valentine. That's a totally different movie. And she does actually, when she won the other Oscar there for The Aviator, she did also repeat here. And she has an ensemble win for Return of the King. So, yeah. So this wouldn't be like the first time they've awarded her or anything. And also Kirsten Dunst, I think she might have... I was going to say ensemble for the Fargo season she was in, but I'm like, no, they don't have that. They don't have that at SAG. They nominate the individual categories for lead actor or actor and actress. Hidden Figures, I forgot. She was in that, yeah. So she's got to win here as well. So I think Ariana DeBose really is the only one early on I'm going to say doesn't have a win previously here. So, of the ones that I'm early on considering here to win. But, so, and after the Globe win and stuff, and West Side Story in that category with that history, with that role in that film, yeah, it's probably not a bad bet. Okay, then for stunt ensemble, again, probably I'm just going to pick Bond early here, unless they want to go with Dune, but... I don't know, even in some previous years here in this category when it feels like, they'll just go with the Best Picture nominee, like last year they could have gone with The Five Bloods, they didn't, they went with Wonder Woman, or they could have gone with Dunkirk, and an easy, bet there, but they go Wonder Woman instead. That makes sense. They can go with the one that's a little more, action heavy and stuff, so yeah, I'd say No Time to Die right now. Which is weird, because I remember coming out of that movie, I was a little like, for the Bond stunts and action sequence and stuff, I was like, it was fine. It wasn't, anything that memorable or whatever. But, yeah. Okay. Let's get into the long list now for BAFTA, and we'll go ahead and just run down the list here. And this is, by the way, just the list as it's put up here by the Variety article here. So whatever the order is just the order they came up with here. So I don't know. It's not alphabetical or anything, but yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll go into what's here and what's missing that could be hurt by not being here. So starting with the best film category, there's going to be 5 nominees here after it's over here, and 15 films were selected to be finalists here. So you got Being the Ricardos, Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Dune, House of Gucci, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, No Time to Die, The French Dispatch, The Lost Daughter, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, Tick, Tick, Boom, and West Side Story. So, I mean, I think I can start with the exclusions here. I think the only one here that's not here that was like, oh, that's not good is Nightmare Alley. That's the one where you're like, okay, I don't know if I need to pull it from Best Picture yet just because of this, but I'm like, oh, that's the only one I have in for Best Picture right now that's not on the list. And yeah, again, I would talk about something like House of Gucci now, like, oh, okay, maybe we need to put that in instead of something like Tick, Tick, Boom, or maybe instead of Nightmare Alley. Because I think the other 8 right now, the way they've done and everything, I mean, it really makes sense for them to get in. And those other 8, again, I'll just clarify here, are Belfast, Power of the Dog, Licorice Pizza, West Side Story, Coda, Dune, King Richard, and Don't Look Up. I think those 8, in a year where we had the sliding scale, I think it would be those 8, and that would probably be it. Kind of deal. So, yeah, I think for Nightmare Alley, I don't know if that's, again, I don't think it's end of the line, but that's definitely like didn't give us a bunch of confidence there. Let's see. Some people are looking at, and this is definitely for Spencer. Again, that's like they probably, again, since it's Princess Diana and everything, you would have thought, that would probably make the short list. Not here. Oh boy. Let's see. Otherwise, the ones that this definitely helps keep in the conversation are like Tragedy of Macbeth. That's a good sign. Obviously, it's Shakespeare. So, again, maybe that was a little more obvious that it would be included. House of Gucci, for sure. French Dispatch, we'll go through, because I remember I was like, wow, look at all the love for French Dispatch. So, BAFTA, I think, really went for that one. So I would not be shocked if that one actually, through the tech categories and stuff, maybe does a little better than we were expecting. Because right now at the Oscars, I think art direction is the only category I have it in for right now, because I pulled it from screenplay and I don't have any like actors or anything getting in. Boy, I'm trying to... Oh, score. I have it in for score. Yeah, I have it getting the 2 nominations. That's it. Okay. Let's see. Otherwise, like Lost Daughter getting in here is one that keeps that one going. Let's see. Cyrano. Yeah, we knew that was kind of on the outskirts now for Best Picture. That one not getting in is, not a great sign there. I'm going to look and see if... Yeah, Drive My Car was, I believe, eligible here. So that one not getting in for film, because some people are thinking, okay, maybe that one actually could surprise us here, because I'm seeing that one start to crop up a little bit here on the Best Picture list for Gold Derby at least, but I'm like, I don't know, that might be a little bit of a stretch. It's doing very well, obviously, at all these critics groups, but it has not crossed over, except for the foreign language category there at like the Globes and Critics' Choice and stuff. And obviously, it didn't get anything here at SAG today. Let's see. So yeah, that probably... I don't think we need to go into predicting who's going to get in, because I've still got... like I said, this is only the second time I've read this list, so that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. Okay. For Outstanding British Film, there's going to be 5 nominees here. I thought it was 6 last year, and they've traditionally done 6. So let me look in here again. Oh, here. Okay, never mind. I misread that. 5 films will opt in. Okay, automatically receive a nomination. Then 5 more will be selected for 10 total nom. Okay, I was about to say. I thought it was more nominees last year and stuff. Okay. So we have 20 films, so half of these are going to get in for British film. You have After Love, Ali and Ava, Belfast, Benediction, Boiling Point, The Color Room, Cruella, Cyrano, The Duke, The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, everybody's talking about Jamie, House of Gucci, The King's Man, Last Night in Soho, Mothering Sunday, Munich, The Edge of War, No Time to Die, Operation Mincemeat, Passing, and Spencer. So at least Spencer got something here. Yeah, and this one, again, I believe you just have to have a British producer, or it has to be produced in, like shot in or whatever in Great Britain to qualify here. It's something like that. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, we'd have to break down all that stuff early on and stuff. Just for time's sake, I'm going to skip over some of these, like outstanding debut by British writer, director, producer. We'll keep going here. So the next one here is going to be film not in English language, international film, in other words. So 15 films are here. They're going to break it down to 5. So here we have A Hero, Bad Luck, Banging, or Loony Porn. Okay. Compartment number 6, Drive My Car, Flee, The Hand of God, I'm Your Man, Lamb, The Most Powerful or The Most Beautiful Boy in the World, Parallel Mothers, Paris 13th District, Petite Maman, Riders of Justice, Titane, and The Worst Person in the World. So I believe the 5 I have in are all here at the Oscars, that is, that'll carry over. That's Flee, Drive My Car, A Hero, Hand of God, and Worst Person in the World. So nothing I can really think of here that missed that won't, totally throw off the Oscar race or anything. Let's see. Yeah, we can do documentary feature here. 14 Peaks, Nothing is Impossible, Becoming Cousteau, Billie Eilish, The World's a Little Blurry, Cow, Flea, JFK Revisited Through the Looking Glass, Lady Boss, The Jackie Collins Story, The Lost Leonardo, The Most Beautiful Boy in the World, The Real Charlie Chaplin, The Rescue, The Sparks Brothers, Summer of Soul, and the Velvet Underground and Tina. So that one is going to come down, I believe, to 5 films. Yep, okay. And let me flip over to the documentary category here. Because, obviously not all of these are going to carry over. Some of the ones that are on the short list for the Oscars, some of them have not even been eligible this year at BAFTA. They will become eligible next year. There's almost always one or two that do that kind of cross over there. But unless Cow is the one I'm thinking of from last year, that would be the only one from last year, I think, that was eligible, but didn't. I don't think I would even made the short list at the Oscars last year, if I'm remembering right. That would carry over from last year because it wasn't there already. And I think the only ones that really carry over here from to the Oscar short list would be the Billie Eilish one, the Velvet Underground, Flea, and Summer of Soul, if I'm remembering right here. I don't really, did I say The First Wave? No, that's not at BAFTA here. So, yeah, I think they're just kind of going to go with their own way there on that one. Animated feature, we have 7 films shortlisted here, and 4 will get in. You have Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Raya and the Last Dragon, Ron's Gone Wrong, and Sing 2. Yeah, so I would say probably you're looking at Flea, Encanto, Luca, Mitchell vs. the Machines. Boy, that's already 4. It might just be those 4. Unless Raya gets in over one of those. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, the directing category. So here we have, let's see here, because I think this one, let's see. It's there's a weird way to do it here. There's kind of a way if you don't get past the first round. I believe this is true for certain other categories. I believe that's true for, is it for film? No, there's maybe the acting categories I'm thinking of instead. But there's certain rules where if you miss the first round, you can still, like the ones that receive the highest number of votes or something that didn't quite make it can still be added to the list to possibly get in again. It's weird. I don't know. But 20 films are here, or 20 directors, I should say, are here, and 6 of them are going to be nominated. So I don't know the directors for all these films, so I'm just going to say the film name. After Love, Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, First Cow. That's the one I'm thinking of from last year. Sorry, Cow's a different one. First Cow, The Hand of God, Happening, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Lost Daughter, Passing, Petite Maman, The Power of the Dog, The Souvenir Part 2, Tragedy of Macbeth, Titane, West Side Story, and Zola. Okay, so I think this is, for me, going to put to bed the whole Asghar Farhadi thing. I had already pulled him for Best Director, but the fact he's not on the list, okay, it's probably not him then. That gets in for that director thing. So, like we said, the big carryover here for those directors of foreign language films that get in at the Oscars, I think the key is you have to be nominated here at BAFTA. So Paweł Pawlowski and the other one was come on. Oh, I've remembered his name a few times here. Shit, I can't remember it now. Another Round. God bless America. I can think. I just give me a second here because it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember it. Okay, whatever. he made the long list, and I was looking at him like, ooh, that sounds like one that can get in. I can't remember if I put him in or not to get nominated here at BAFTA, but when he showed up, I'm like, hey, there you go. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. And then, yep, as I've said many times now famously, I'm like, I put him in, kept him there for a day or two, and then I pulled him out. And I had the other four I had in alongside him all ended up getting in. So I could have pulled a really big one there, but no. Okay, so of the ones here that got in that have a foreign language film that could cross over to the Oscars, definitely the two that you got to look out for here. The two I'm going to put top of the list, Drive My Car and The Hand of God. And unless they both get in here at BAFTA, which would be weird because it's normally just one, that would kind of feel like it would cross over to the Oscars. Unless they both get in and they maybe cancel each other out at the Oscars, I think if one of those two gets in here, I'm going to put them in at the Oscars, and that's going to be it. So, yeah. Let's see. Otherwise, let me go to my list here for director. Is there anybody here that I'm like, oh, what are they not doing here? Probably Nightmare Alley again here is probably the one that definitely comes to mind here. Dune is on the list. I was like, Denis Villeneuve, that makes sense, because he's gotten a few nominations here at BAFTA before. Or at least the one for Blade Runner. He got in for Arrival, too, didn't he? Here at BAFTA. He got the Oscar nomination, but he might have missed actually at BAFTA, now that I think about it. And that could have been possibly a makeup for Arrival then at BAFTA. No, he was there. Okay, so he's gotten the two nominations then before. Spielberg's there, Paul Thomas Anderson's there, and Jane Campion and Kenneth Branagh are all there. So that's my five. So Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car is in. Let's see. Pedro Almodovar is not on this list for Parallel Mothers. So I would throw a little less in his way there. Sion Heder is here. Maggie Gyllenhaal's here. So that's a good sign there. Adam McKay, Joel Coen are here. Spencer not on here. Not good for Pablo Larraín and that film's chances. Ronaldo Green as well. Ronaldo Marcus Green, I should say, for King Richard. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. And even though House of Gucci did very well here today, the fact that it didn't get the director shortlist, it's like, oh, okay, maybe they didn't like that one. And again, French Dispatch also did very well here today at the BAFTA Longlist, and that's not in for director. So okay, just the heads up there. Okay, next up they're going into the screenplay categories here. So starting with original screenplay. This one, I think we said 6 nominees there. Yeah, 6 nominees for the director race. 5 scripts will get in for both categories. So for the original screenplay, you have After Love, Being the Ricardos, Belfast, The Card Counter, Come On, Come On, Don't Look Up, The Duke, The French Dispatch, Hand of God, King Richard, Last Night in Soho, Licorice Pizza, Parallel Mothers, Petite Maman, and The Worst Person in the World. So on this list, I don't really see anything. Like the 5 I have at the Oscars are all here. Mass is not here. Mass I didn't really see have much, if anything, here. So that might have been... I actually just did a search here, yeah. Ann Dowd's in. So it's like, okay, so they... clearly that was one that was eligible. So that's one I think some people still have at the Oscars here. Otherwise, seems like the 5 I have are the 5 popular picks here. So yeah, something like, again, Spencer really could have benefited from a spot here. And again, this is a sign. I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to really consider not putting Kristen Stewart in for the nominations for BAFTA. I mean, maybe early on I will, just as you know, kind of the first picks here or whatever, but the fact that this one is really spotty and it is about Princess Diana, ouch, 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 ouch. Okay, let's go to the adapted category here. 15, again, this will be whittled down to 5. You've got Coda, Cyrano, Drive My Car, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, The Green Knight, House of Gucci, The Last Duel, The Lost Daughter, No Time to Die, Passing, The Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, Tick, Tick, Boom, and West Side Story. So again, I think Nightmare Alley, again, struggling here. And I'm actually going to look up, because it had to have gotten something, didn't it? Okay, yeah, it's actually in 4 categories, so... long listed here. So again, this is not a case of it just not, being released in the UK or whatever. It's like, okay, they just didn't like it in these top categories and stuff. Let's see. Otherwise, I believe the 5 I have in at the Oscars are all here. Yeah, Lost Daughter, and this is not in this order, but Lost Daughter, Coda, West Side Story, Tragedy of Macbeth, and I think I named them all. Okay. Let's see otherwise. Yeah, House of Gucci is a good sign here. No Time to Die, surprisingly. Again, that one is getting a lot of stuff here, so that, yeah, we'll see. And then, yeah, Tragedy of Macbeth, too. Yeah, that's a good one to keep in there, for sure. Okay, now we got the acting categories. Again, 6 nominees will be determined here of the 15 that are longlisted. So, starting off with Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Lady Gaga for House of Gucci, Elena Haim for Licorice Pizza, Jennifer Hudson for Respect, Emilia Jones for Coda, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, Jennifer Lawrence for Don't Look Up, Frances McDormand for The Tragedy of Macbeth, Renate Rensby for The Worst Person in the World, Clara Rushbrook for Ali and Ava, Joanna Scanlon for After Love, Kristen Stewart for Spencer, Tessa Thompson for Passing, and Rachel Zeigler for West Side Story. So I think Penelope Cruz is the only one I'm not seeing here that I have in at the Oscars. So especially after today, I'm like, yeah, I think Cruz, I really don't think she's just going to pull the Oscar-only kind of deal. Kind of like Marion Cotillard for that one she had a few years ago there. 2 Days, One Night, something like that? Okay. Let's see. Otherwise, a lot of them that, we were like, okay, they're on the bubble here. Yeah, they still got in. I think Jodie Comer for the Last Duel, I think, is the only one toward the top of the list here I'm seeing that didn't get in here. So, yeah, so that kind of feels like, okay, there's a lot of possibilities there. And again, I do not sleep on some of these titles that are not huge here in the U.S. getting in. I would actually be, because there's like 3 of them, respectively. It's the one from actresses from Worst Person in the World, Ali and Ava, and After Love. So I'm like, okay, just on my early thoughts here, at least 1 or 2 of them are going to get in. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's see. The next one here is Best Actor. And again, we've got 15. That'll be whittled down to 6 here. So the nominees here are to be determined from Riz Ahmed for Encounter, Adil Akhtar for Ali and Ava, Mahershala Ali for Swan Song, Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Daniel Craig for No Time to Die. Okay, again, we'll see. Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Leonardo DiCaprio for Don't Look Up, Peter Dinklage for Cyrano, Adam Driver for House of Gucci, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Stephen Graham for Boiling Point, Cooper Hoffman for Licorice Pizza, Joaquin Phoenix for Come On, Come On, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. So yeah, my 5 guys made it in, and technically I still have Mahershala Ali there, but yeah, might as well count. It's Andrew Garfield instead. Let's do that one live. There you go, he's in now. There you go. Otherwise, again, Nightmare Alley, Bradley Cooper seems like he's missed everything here. If anything, he's going to get the Licorice Pizza nomination going forward. I think he was in it for supporting actor here, if I remembered right. Yes, he is. And again, we'll name the full list there in a minute. So I think that's his best bet going forward for sure. Otherwise, like Nicolas Cage Pig, I'm not sure if that was going to qualify or not. Timothée Chalamet for Dune, yeah, that one's probably done. So yeah, again, I would say look out for a couple ones that are not going to be at the Oscars there, or very unlikely to be at the Oscars at least. Somebody like Daniel Craig, I can see making this list. If it's down to 6. So yeah, let's be careful there. Let's see, supporting actress. Again, 6 will be determined from these 15 long-listed. Catriona Balfe for Belfast. Cate Blanchett for Don't Look Up, not for Nightmare Alley like today. Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter. This I would seriously be happy about this one. I'm glad it's on the list because that shows somebody's paying attention. Ana de Armas for No Time to Die. Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. Ann Dowd for Mass. Judy Dench for Belfast. Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog. Ajon Ellis for King Richard. Catherine Hunter for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Rita Moreno for West Side Story. Ruth Nega for Passing. Vinette Robinson for Boiling Point. Meryl Streep for Don't Look Up. And Anya Taylor-Joy for The Last Night in Soho. So a couple there that we really have not been hearing much through the season to really look out for there. Like Judy Dench, who is kind of British royalty. So I would actually not be shocked if she's the nominee here and not Catriona Balfe. That could be one to look out for. Let's see. Otherwise, something like Meryl Streep, I'd kind of shy away from that one. Interesting to see 2 Don't Look Up actresses in here and 2 West Side Story actresses in here. Let's see. Otherwise, yeah, and Anya Taylor-Joy, I don't think so. But yeah, very interesting list here. So Marlee Matlin for Coda. This is, again, kind of the only place where Coda is struggling as of late. She's the only one she's the only one at the Oscars I have in who did not cross over. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really see a whole bunch else here that was like kind of surprise kind of deal there. For supporting actor, again, 15 will be whittled down to 6. You've got David Alvarez for West Side Story, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, Benicio del Toro for The French Dispatch, Jamie Dornan and Ciarán Hinds both for Belfast, Mike Faist for West Side Story, Andrew Garfield for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. So, yeah, I thought he might stick around a little bit. I was thinking maybe he had a weird shot at the Globes, at the SAGs there today. Troy Kutzer for Coda, Jared Leto for House of Gucci, Woody Norman for Come On, Come On, Al Pacino for House of Gucci, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, there you go, Mark Rylance for Don't Look Up, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog. So I think of the 5 I have in, none of them missed. Cooper, again, we'll see how he carries on here. And again, I don't see... Richard Jenkins is not on the list here, so I think that one is done. I really don't see a scenario where he or somebody like Jason Isaacs, whatever. So interesting to see Ben Affleck, who's been getting a couple nominations. He's not on the list here. And, so that'll be kind of an interesting thing there. Okay, next up is a relatively new category here at BAFTA, and that's the casting category. 15 will be whittled down to 5 here. That's going to be After Love, Belfast, Boiling Point, Coda, Don't Look Up, Dune, The Hand of God, House of Gucci, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Lost Daughter, Passing, The Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom, and West Side Story. Let's see. So I think of the ones that were nominated at SAGs here today, I think 4 out of 5 are in. Oh, no, 5 out of 5. No, they're all here. Yeah, King Richard, I didn't see right away there. Yeah. Otherwise, a few that we thought were having a good shot there at SAG today, they're here, like West Side Story, Power of the Dog. Yep, a few of those. Okay, let's move on to the some of the tech categories here. Cinematography, we have 5 nominees to be determined from the 15 longlisted. Those are Belfast, Come On, Come On, Cyrano, Don't Look Up, Dune, The French Dispatch, House of Gucci, The Last Duel, Last Night in Soho, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Let's see, let's compare and contrast here. So I don't really see any obvious ones that are missing here. The 5 I have in are all here. Spencer, some people had a lot of faith in, but that missing is not great. Let's see here. Otherwise, a lot of like the black and white ones they're like Tragedy of Macbeth, Come On, I believe is black and white as well. And French Dispatch, as we've talked about here before, does have quite a few black and white sequences there. So, all right. So that's that one. Costume design, you have Being the Ricardos, Belfast, Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, The French Dispatch, House of Gucci, Last Night in Soho, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, Spencer, and West Side Story. So again, nothing that immediately comes to my mind for what's missing here. I'm not really looking at anything that says, oh, okay. Coming to America, which again maybe didn't make the long list there at BAFTA for any category. I guess we'll find out here. That one I don't really see as one that would have appealed to the Brits, really. It is in the makeup short list at the Oscars, though, so we'll see. Let's see. For the film editing category, we have, again, 5 nominees determined of the 15, which are Belfast, Don't Look Up, Dune, The French Dispatch, The Hand of God, House of Gucci, Last Night in Soho, Licorice Pizza, The Lost Daughter, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, Summer of Soul, Tick Tick Boom, Titane, and West Side Story. So a couple off the beaten track kind of inclusions here, like good to see Lost Daughter, No Time to Die, Summer of Soul, Titane, those 4 in particular. Which really, I don't think I've talked about any of them as Oscar possibilities here. Let's see. The 5 I have at the Oscars, I believe, are all here. And again, this is not in this exact order, but like Belfast, Dune, Power of the Dog, West Side Story, Licorice Pizza. Yeah, they're all here. Let's see. Again, Nightmare Alley, not here. Tick, Tick, Boom is here. That's kind of gaining some momentum there. King Richard I had in for a little while there for film editing. That's not here. So I'm like, okay, that's not a great sign for that one. For in that particular category, that is. And that's probably it for that one. Makeup and hairstyling, again, we'll have 5 nominees here, among being the Ricardos. It is here. Coming to America, Cruella, Cyrano, Don't Look Up, Dune, Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, The French Dispatch, House of Gucci, The King's Man, The Last Duel, Last Night in Soho, No Time to Die, and West Side Story. And I believe, other than the Suicide Squad, all those cross over to the Oscar shortlist. One other exception would be Nightmare Alley. So, of the 10 that we have it down to at the Oscars, 8 of them cross over. So, again, that doesn't mean it's over and done with for Suicide Squad. I believe it did get a few good nominations at the Makeup Guild the other night. So, I haven't changed anything yet on this one, but I think I'm going to add Suicide Squad to my predictions here. When I come back to it here eventually. Let's see, for original score, 15 will be, again, whittled down to 5 here. Being the Ricardos, Don't Look Up, Dune, The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, French Dispatch, The Green Knight, The Harder They Fall, good to see that one in. King Richard, The Last Duel, Last Night in Soho, The Lost Daughter, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, Power of the Dog, and Spencer. So, again, let me look at my list here for the ones... Again, I don't think very many did not cross over. Parallel Mothers feels like it's a pretty good bet at the Oscars right now still, but that one is not on the list here. Encanto is not on here. That got a Globe nomination, at least, as I recall. Let's see. Otherwise, of the ones that were shortlisted at the Oscars, I think Candyman and King Richard are the only two I don't see. Oh, no, King Richard's here, sorry. Candyman, which, it's probably good to see that one early. Let's see, Tragedy of Macbeth, I have. It's also on the short list there for the Oscars. That did not cross over, so a little bit of a difference there between the two. In the production design category here at BAFTA, the 15 that'll be whittled down to 5 will come from being the Ricardos, Belfast, Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, The French Dispatch, House of Gucci, The Last Duel, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Let's go back over here. This one I do not believe has been... Yeah, this one has not been shortlisted yet. So, this would have been a place like if Nightmare Alley was even missing from this place, I would be like, okay, that's really not a good sign. But I believe, yes, all 5 of mine are in here. Spencer is one some people do like here at the Oscars, but that didn't get in. Let's see, Belfast we mentioned. I think the rest of these kind of make sense. So that's that one. And I believe we only have 2 categories left. We're almost there. Okay. For visual effects, again, we have 15 that'll be whittled down to 5. You have Black Widow, Cruella, Don't Look Up, Dune, Eternals, Free Guy, The French Dispatch, Ghostbusters Afterlife, The King's Man, Last Night in Soho, Matrix, Resurrections, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Suicide Squad, and Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Okay, let's go to visual effects here. Let's see. Spider-Man, I don't think got anything here at BAFTA. So that's the one, I think, at the Oscars that is close. I don't have it in, but that one's not here. Kong vs. Godzilla is not here. That was on the short list. So I believe everybody else is here. So that's 8 out of the 10 again. Again, I'll determine who my early picks are here from BAFTA later. I gotta really look at this. Okay, in the sound category, again, just like now at the Oscars, we only have one sound category here at BAFTA. We have the 15 that'll be whittled down to 5 are going to be from A Quiet Place Part 2, Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Dune, The French Dispatch, Ghostbusters Afterlife, The Harder They Fall, The Last Duel, Last Night in Soho, Matrix Resurrections, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, Tick, Tick, Boom, and West Side Story. Okay, and this one we do have shortlisted, do we not? Yeah, we do. Okay, so again, I believe all 5 of the ones I have in are here. Belfast is in, Dune is in, No Time to Die, West Side Story, and Tick, Tick, Boom. Yeah, those are the 5 I have at the Oscars. Power of the Dog was shortlisted. Yeah, that one's on here. Sorry, for half a second I didn't see that one. I think Spider-Man and Last Night in Soho... Okay, Last Night in Soho crossed over, yeah. So really, Spider-Man's the only one. Did not cross over to BAFTA. And yeah, Spider-Man, it's making money over in the UK and stuff. So they just didn't like that one, I guess. Okay, because yeah, sometimes well, actually no, since they did the short list and stuff, I don't remember. I don't remember any Marvel movies doing particularly well. Obviously, we didn't have any Marvel movies last year, but yeah, that's probably why. That explains that. Yeah, it's kind of been a long day. We've been here, what, an hour and a half? Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so like I said, yeah, so that's everything for BAFTA as well as the Screen Actors Guild. Like I said, this is a big day here, kind of like the Critics' Choice and Golden Globes Day, where it's like, okay, now we kind of see who's in early and stuff, and now it's like, okay, who's sticking around, who was just liked early and now could be out, who did we think was in but now they could be struggling. There's a whole bunch to really discern from this and a lot to digest here. And I'm definitely going to take some time and look over everything and kind of see early on, okay, who else do I kind of look at a little bit, or what odds do I look at from IndieWire, Gold Derby, etc., and say, okay, where do I agree, where do I disagree? Which ones am I looking at now and saying, oof, I don't know, or which ones am I like, okay, maybe I can double down on my confidence in this pick or whatever. So it's going to be a while here. Give me a little bit of time here. Definitely tonight. I mean, obviously when I'm done here, I'm going to look this over and figure out, okay, what do I like early? What do I not like early? And we'll go from there. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I think we listed a lot of stuff here early on for like, wow, look at all the inclusions here. I mean, you can right away just look at everything in Best Film pretty much showed up really well here today. Some of them better than we expected, like French Dispatch, Lost Daughter, arguably Don't Look Up, which I didn't necessarily think was going to do poorly at BAFTA, but I'm like, okay, getting 2 of the actors long-listed in the top, well, not only 2, 5. 5! 2 supporting actresses, 1 supporting actor, and lead in the both lead categories. They like that one. So I'm like, okay, actually, I would not be shocked if that gets picture, 1 acting category, screenplay. I would not be surprised if that one does very well here. Coda did very well, including the sound category. That was one I really would not have thought of. Dune didn't miss anything. King Richard didn't really miss anything. Licorice Pizza didn't really miss anything. No Time to Die, French Dispatch doing really well here. Tick, Tick, Boom doing really well here. Being the Ricardos doing really well here. Belfast, I think we all had a good idea of. Dune, arguably, we all had a good idea of. House of Gucci did really well here, so I'm like, okay, that one they did like a lot. Let's see. West Side Story didn't really miss anything. Tragedy of Macbeth did maybe a little better than we thought. Power of the Dog didn't really miss anything. So, yeah, otherwise, like Nightmare Alley struggled. Gosh, I can't think of anything right off the top otherwise that really like struggled here that I would have thought maybe was in good hands. Not really. Nothing's coming to mind. I kind of like, so if anything, Nightmare Alley kind of feels like the only one last year I remember that kind of struggled with some of those short lists early was, or long lists in this case, was Minari, which was like on the director list but not the film list, and it missed like screenplay or something else significant like that. Maybe Spencer early on I would have thought would have done better here, but that one is missing from a few key categories. Yeah, I don't know. That's like the only other one I can think of here really early on here. I'm sure there'll be one when I look down this list again and kind of start picking out stuff. I'll be like, oh, what about that one? That one I would have thought did better. But yeah, right now, those are the 2 I'm going to go with as like, ooh, they kind of disappointed here from their relative expectations and stuff. Yeah, that's the only 2 I can think of right now. Okay. Like I said, that's a whole bunch to digest in one day. So I'm going to be done here. I'm going to look over stuff and be like, okay, what the hell am I doing going forward? And I will obviously update my Oscar predictions as well. And let's see, we've got a little bit here until the next thing. Normally it would be Critics' Choice would be the next thing, the actual awards. But that one, again, last I've heard, we have not gotten any updates on when they've rescheduled that. So I'm not sure. what the next thing is. We might be, I mean, obviously I'll do some videos in between, but the BAFTA nominations might be the next thing. I mean, unless again there's, well, actually let me look up DGA, WGA, PGA. Because yeah, we've started to see a few guilds trickle in, like the, I don't know if this has always been there, but Society of Composers and Lyrics guilds. Or that's not a guild, sorry, that's a different award thing. Makeup and hairstyling is out. I think that's, and they're an early one. They're always an early one, by the way. So I think the guilds are the next thing we got to worry about. Especially DGA could be a little tougher this year. And WGA, I always wait until we know like which ones are excluded, because then it's always a little easier to predict and everything. Because I don't always know off the top of my head which ones are not part of the Writers Guild and therefore do not qualify. You know, like Quentin Tarantino's like the only one I know for sure. Boy, yeah. Again, I'd have to see the list of, okay, what's not going to make it, you know, kind of deal. Which a lot of people do a lot of research into that. I think the Variety and the IndieWire guys and some of those writers there, they're very good about doing the research on that. So I'm going to defer to them once we kind of get that sorted there. Yeah, then PGA could be kind of tough. Because, I can see, because PGA will have 10 unless they tie and get 11 in there. They've gone for stuff like Wonder Woman and, I was going to say Star Wars Force Awakens, but no. They've gone for Wonder Woman before and Deadpool for some big box office winners. So both superhero films, I can see Spider-Man getting on that list. I would actually not be shocked. Otherwise you'd have to look to, the other ones we've been obviously naming through most of the season there, but... actually, okay, one I would say, again, this is about official predictions for PGA. House of Gucci actually is one of the adult kind of drama films, if you will. Unlike King Richard and Spencer and West Side Story, that one has actually made some bank at the box office. That one's about 125 million worldwide or something. I believe it crossed, or it's really close to 50 million here in the U.S., if I'm remembering correctly. Let's see. Yep, it has crossed 50 million here in the U.S. So that's been the one exception, really, for these adult kind of drama films. Because, again, we have been kind of saying here in the last couple months or so, it's like those are kind of the last ones that people are coming back to in the theaters for box office receipts and stuff. They're the ones that are kind of slowly getting back there. So I would actually, again, those are your two kind of dark horse that look actually okay for PGA nominations. So I don't know if both can make it, but at least one of those I would think stand a really good shot there. All right. Okay, we've gone on too long, so I am going to go ahead and wrap it up here. We'll be done, and I'll find the schedule and stuff for PGA, DGA, WGA, kind of go from there. Those will probably be the next videos, and then when we do, when I figure out everything Oscar-wise for what's in, what's out, plus early picks for based off of SAG and BAFTA and stuff here today, then I'll come back to you here. But it might be a little while. So that's it. I'm done.